Sunday. Peace and love to all the family out there. Oh yeah, before we even get started, condolences to the family of those brothers and sisters who was killed in Buffalo by the white supremacists. Yeah, we seen that, and that's real corny for that to still going on. So condolences to the family of those brothers and sisters who were killed in that supermarket. But yeah, we're on our way right now. We're live in Lusaka, Zambia. Hopefully the stream is going good. Did you
we're approaching now Calgary now.
Okay, yeah. So we're on our way to the Copperbelt. We're checking to see if the stream is good for everybody's viewing pleasure. Shout out to Joseph Sakala. What's up, family? How you doing? Y'all know who it is. You know who the face is. We're not gonna be here too long today. And we're not in Lusaka, actually. We're in Zambia. But I got my good brother. He's gonna tell us where we're at. I'm gonna introduce everybody. What's up, Ibrahim? Just waiting for a few more people to get in the room. I want y'all to give a special shout out to the lovely wife who's here in the back.
Peace.
Yeah.
Peace and love, everybody. How you doing out there? I hope everybody's doing great. Yes.
Yeah, we got Ayla back here.
We also have Miss Ayla over here by me.
Yes.
Got her headphones on.
Yeah,
Yes.
family. So we on a road trip. And I want to also give a shout out to the family we was with yesterday at the Minus Ranch. Shout out to y'all. And so right now, today we with a good brother. His brother has been on here before, spitting a lot of jewels, dropping a lot of game and knowledge for the lovely people. What's up, Crumb Kings? And you know, so today I asked the question, what was the slave trade like? You know, back in those days here in Zambia and stuff like that. And he has a whole, his perspective of how the slave trade went, because our perspective in America and Africa, our brothers and sisters here on the continent is two different things, family. So we're going to dive into that today. Hopefully, you grab your pens and pencils, you can learn something today. But we have the one, the only, the Ngobola in the building, family. Ngobola, yes.
Yeah, it's very difficult for English speakers to say. Ngobola Muyembe.
Okay,
yeah.
Ngobola Muyembe.
Yes.
Yeah. So Ngobola, how you doing today, first of all?
I am fine. I'm taking you to Ndola to see. I'm taking you to Ndola to see another good friend of mine who's in construction. So just to give you a perspective on our Zambian entrepreneurs. But on the way, we can even talk about history whilst on the way there. Yeah, so fire away. You can ask me some questions.
Definitely. Yeah, so Ngobola, before we get into all of that, like what's some of your history? Have you lived outside of Zambia before? You grew up in Zambia?
Yeah. Like I said last time, I used to live in UK. In the, I think the gate is open at the back. Let me just close the tailgate at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah. So hold that thought.
Yeah.
Otherwise, things will start dropping off.
Okay. Yeah, family. So
the bumps are so many. Let me just.
We're gonna take care of something real quick in the back. But shout out to the family out there. I hope y'all are having a lovely Sunday today. If you go to church, if you don't go to church, just make sure you have a wonderful, blessed, loving day. Spend some time with your family. Go visit some cemeteries where your loved ones probably passed away. It's a good day for that, family. We also got the full moon coming soon. If not today, I got to look and see what it is. I got to see what it look like. But yeah, family. Also, check us out on unapologetic_nomads. Yeah. All right, so Ngobola.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, you said you lived in the UK before.
Yeah, I lived in Birmingham, and I also used to work in Scotland. Was doing some work for Scottish Water. I even went up to Inverness, really up north there. So I worked in the water industry in the UK for about five years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So you were in the UK, then you came back to Zambia. Like, how long have you been in Zambia? I know we talked about this before, but it's
Yeah.
new viewers.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, just
okay,
give
okay.
context.
Yeah. I have been back since 2013.
Okay.
Yeah. Since 2013, I came back to Zambia. And
Talk a little louder.
oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. I came back to Zambia in 2013. And I have been back ever since, and I've been working in the water industry. I did some work for Nkana Water, the rehabilitation of the infrastructure,
Okay.
and did a bit for Mulonga Water as well, and rehabilitating their infrastructure there as well. So, yeah, even on the Saka Water project, I think the Millennium Challenge account.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna just jump right into it, like because we know that there was slave trading on the continent. Can you give us some history on the slave trade here in Africa from your perspective?
Yeah. Okay. Where I come from, say, I'll start off by talking about my tribe, where I come from. We are Bemba speaking, and my parents are both from north and from Luapula, Andakazimata Kazembe, and my mother is Aushi. But how the our perspective, the Chitimukuru, when they arrived in here into Zambia, they found the Soli people who had been weakened by Swahili slave raiders. So the people who used to catch slaves at the time were Swahili. These are people who were born in between Arabs and Bantu people. Okay, and I've heard a lot of people say things like, "Oh, Africans were slave traders before the European come." I think the idea there is trying to water down slavery. The slave trade that was happening here, but our people moved away from the major slave traders like the Lubalunda Kingdom. That's how come Zambia became Zambia itself. So when the Chitimukuru and these people came, they found other tribes that had been weakened because of slave trade. So they incorporated them in their kingdom. That's why where we're going in Kawa here, they speak Bemba, not because they are Bemba, but they were incorporated in the kingdom of the Bemba people, just for protection against the Swahili slave traders. Okay.
So, like, what year is this? Like, with the Swahili slave traders? Like, what year is that around when that started?
This goes back to maybe say maybe say the early 1800s.
Oh, okay.
But before that, when the Portuguese started their slave trade in the Congo, because mind you, the Congo went up to Angola, okay, and the slave trade, our migration, our people coming to Zambia, was a bit late, somewhere to in the middle of the 1800s, but slavery had already started at the time. So they were migrating from slave trade. One of the reasons was that the Lubalunda Kingdom was heavy in slave trade. So they started to migrate south, and we have got the Lozi people in Western Province also migrated from the same point, and the major reason they were migrating from there was because of slave trade. But the history, to go back to say who started slave trade or who started slavery, every society has its own offenders. Okay, right now if you go to the US, you find the prison cells are filled with the slaves,
Yes.
right? So what we had here was we used to have offenders, but there weren't so many. But when the slave traders were coming here, they would say, okay, let us exchange those offenders with some salt and some iron and what also, ivory. And they would take those offenders and go with them to the coast. And then when they come back later, Maybe they don't find any offenders. But it was going to be a loss if they went back empty-handed. So they used to identify the bad people amongst us. Some of these were bad chiefs. Some of the, and especially driven by greed. And this cycle keeps on repeating itself. We always have that one black person who wants to smile too much for white people. Ended up saving his own people. So we're in this instance. We used to have people that would betray, but from the Zambian perspective, our chief, when the Cengelo came here, he made sure that he armed himself to the teeth. But that is late in the maybe 1890, 1870s, somewhere there. Okay. They had armed themselves to the teeth to protect against Swahili slave raiders, because it now became a business. And the other people that have never apologized for slavery are the Arabs. Okay. I mean, we talk about the Europeans and their devious behaviors, but we've never addressed the real issue of the Arab slave trade. Yeah, this is one angle. So yeah, from the Zambian perspective, I saw something about Mr. Thomas Sowell. Mr. Thomas Sowell was saying. Mr. Thomas Sowell was saying that the Ngonis enslaved the Chewa people of Malawi. I mean, intellectual dishonesty is more dangerous than just being dishonest, because the Ngoni people, when came from, if you have the history of Shaka Zulu, they were running away from the Mafekeni Wars of Shaka Zulu. And we joke about this one in this country, between Bembas and Easterners, right? There's always that joke. So when the Ngonis were running away from Shaka Zulu, they crossed the Rwangwa there. There's a famous time which we joke about them, that when the eclipse happened, they thought Shaka was on their tail. So they started to swim across that. But when they arrived here, they had no women. So they attacked the Bembas for women. So when the Bemba chief said, why did you fight so hard after some negotiations? He said, no, we were looking for women. So it was a funny thing for the Bemba chief, that because how can you come to steal women? We could have simply asked, and we could have, because they had saved a lot of smaller tribes whose men had been taken away as slaves by Swahili slave raiders. So, but according to our tradition, the children belong to the woman. So, up to this day, we still laugh at the people from Eastern Province, because the children that were born actually became ours, because they were born from their mothers. I know them, some Easterners will try to start making some jokes here about the banter, but Mr. Thomas Sowell was a very dishonest intellectual, where he said the Ngonis were enslaved. He had enslaved the Chewa people. No, they used to happen where one kingdom become more powerful, one chiefdom become more powerful than the next. That's not the same as slavery. Yeah, you have just declared that you are weaker than me, therefore you'll be under my an equivalent of what we can call a nuclear umbrella of the US. They would say, okay, this region, since we are protecting you, you are going to buy you are going to be buying oil in US dollar. So it's the same thing. So if one chief is stronger than the other, right, it's not enslaving the other ones. It's to say, should you have now falling under my kingdom, and whatever crops you grow, you pay homage to me. So for you to come and start telling lies out there that the Ngoni is enslaved the Chewas, it's not true, because there will be animosity to this day, like the way there is animosity in Sudan, in South Sudan, and between the Sudanese, right? But me, my wife is my wife's parents, my parents-in-law. The father is Ngoni, the mother is Chewa, and they still live together to this day. So if one enslaved the other, it would be impossible to even intermarry. So some of these untruths people keep spreading, there was slavery. Yes, we used to have offenders, and then the offenders became profitable for other people. So the Arabs would come back and say, okay, we need some more slaves. We don't have any more slaves. So they will capture the entire village. And from there, that's how it now expanded. Africa became depopulated. And you can still see some of those tribes that used to participate in slave trade ended up losing their own members. So some of them are extinct now, because when they sold the people, the Arabs will come back and now and capture an entire village, because they have no way of defending themselves, because they were selling people.
Man.
So
you said that. So pretty much you were saying it was so many slaves that were sold, or so many people sold into slavery, that Africa was becoming depopulated.
Yes, of course. You look at the history of the Barbary states and the Barbary Wars that happened. It's there in your history. American Marine force was basically made after, because the Arabs had depopulated the Africans. There's no more black people to catch. Damn. So they started now catching the Europeans. That's if you ask some Europeans, even would say, "Oh my God, we were also slaves." No, because we were depopulated. All our people were captured. Most of us marched south. If you look at the population of Zulus or the South Africans in 1900, it was a very small population. So that we expanded exponentially as black people, and that is why people are talking about these birth controls and all that stuff, because too much of us is a bit dangerous for some people. So Africa became depopulated at some point. That if you look at the Barbary Wars, these were Tunisia, Libya, and Algeria. They were called the Barbary states. They fought a war with America because they were capturing American ships and getting white people from Europe and selling them off as slaves, especially white women. They were selling them off as slaves. So Africa, the slave trade was so bad that you cannot even say, oh, the Africans were trading. Who were they selling at the end, right? And you cannot trivialize slavery that happened with both Arab slave trade and European slave trade, and then say, oh, Africans were also. We are not keeping people in shackles here. Yeah, it was about dominance. You dominate the people, but even those. They later realized that you needed to have numbers to protect yourselves. That is how come we managed to drive away the Swahili slave traders. But yes, Africa became depopulated. And if you look at the Barbary Wars that were fought, actually your own Thomas Jefferson was one of the people who traveled to Europe to see the ambassador of the Barbary states in the UK, because the UK had capitulated. They were even paying taxes to these Barbary states for their ships not to be attacked, right? So if you go and check, they would catch those Europeans, all because Africa became depopulated. There are no more black people to be captured. They are those most much south. That's why I told you last time that we went through the same. It's only that our people ran fast towards the south, right? And then if you come to Zambia and what they were talking about last time, the tribes started to gang up together. That's why there's no history of tribes that are living here having fiercely fought each other. There were skirmishes between the Lambas and the Lozis, but this is overgrazing land, and this is normal on every society. That's the same fights that goes on between nations even up to this day.
Yeah. So this is great, and thank you guys for tuning in. He's amazing with the history going on. So I have a question. What was the exchange then? Okay, so as far as like catching slaves and whatnot, selling people, what was the exchange between I guess maybe some of the chiefs and the those who are not from the
slave catchers?
Slave catchers.
What
was the objective? The end objective,
yeah.
And
like what were they getting paid?
Yeah,
I guess?
were they getting paid? What was the exchange, and what were the slave catchers getting besides human bodies? You know, what was the end result of that?
Okay, the first was normal trade. Huh? Don't get me. There was first it was normal trade. Our people may have needed, for instance, clothes, right? And if you look around you, that's why I was saying that the history is in the. Don't just open the books that is written. Read the books, but with a critical eye, and then also compare with what you see around. So, to give you one example, the Indian we traded with the India as well, right? And the Indians never just came here for human beings. Yeah, from India, yeah.
Okay.
And the evidence is there. So, for instance, in India, what they have is for a coin they have an Indian rupee. In Zambia, what we call, but when we are talking about money, we say urupia. Our president was called the Rupia Banda. Rupia Banda simply means money. Or because during the barter system, the first coin the Bantu people saw was an Indian rupee. So they called it Rupia.
Okay.
But in the end, they were exchanging what the other ones did not have. And then we never used to have, for instance, to produce cotton here. The Indians would come with the cottons, and then they will get, in the end, they will get elephant tusks, for instance, or they will get the iron. We used to smelt iron here in case people have been telling lies, because in southern province there's a place called Ngobola. That was a smelting port for iron. So they'll come, and sometimes they will even come to get our cattle. So it wasn't just that they were basically primarily dealing in slaves. No, there were some other things that we had here in abundance, like salt, for instance. They would come and we mine salt, and they would take the salt, right? And then they'll give us. And the Spanish also came here, yeah. And the Spanish brought in the shoes. So when you say in Bemba, when I'm talking about shoes, I would say in zapato. In Spanish, it's zapato. So because when they were doing the barter system, they will put in something, and then they will name it. They will say, oh, this is zapato. Oh, the Bemba or the Bantu would say it in their language. They will say, oh, in zapato. Then they will be exchanging. So it's malicious to only say that we were the only thing that was trading here was slaves. No, there was slavery, yes, but it started off like our prisoners. We gave them away by mistake, foolishly. The same way our people sometimes will give up land and say this is an investor who coming to help us, but his real intention is something else. So in the mistake was we trivialized the value of our people and then gave them away to somebody else. And then that person came back and now captured all of us. And then that's how. But the end game was basically purely trade, right?
Okay.
People were trading in all sorts of things, including, so a gun is called the infuti in Bemba, but in Arabic it's foot, right? But you can trace those things. Even the Chinese, there's some signs of Chinese ports in the coast of Tanzania, which dates back to before Christ. So the trade has always been part of that.
Okay. So then I guess things started turning, going the wrong way, in the wrong direction. So then, what we could, move forward in time. Then why did things turn in the wrong direction, if you will, I guess? What do you think?
Yeah. I think maybe it's lack of foresight, as always, whereby you don't know, because nobody checked. Why are they coming back for more people, right? Because that's a question somebody should have asked. To say, go and follow them and then come and tell us what. Because these people, they come and catch all of us, but nobody cared to follow up, because now there was demand for human beings on the other side. So if they had investigated, they would have probably been on guard to say we need to protect our own people, otherwise they come and raid all of us. But nobody had that foresight, And then it's just like now, you see, we have so much power in Africa that nobody wants to have that foresight. And there's always those amongst us who wants to stifle this. Because if Africa just became like one, we don't need anybody else. Actually, these people will be bargaining with us, right? For a piece of shit. But now it's like you're giving it away for free, you know? So the same way we gave away our people for free. So for me, I think the mistake was at the beginning. Why it went wrong was that we never valued our people so much, especially that we were able to even give helpers easily. You can even see it in the way the people were being given to these missionaries to carry them. Yeah. So if you valued your people very much, you could have told that white man to walk by himself or go and buy a horse and then move around. But to give him your people to carry him all the way, that means you never had any value for your people. And even now it's happening. You don't value your own people so much, you exclude them from everything. So no one can respect your people if you don't respect them. So for me, I think that is where it went wrong. And it's bound to repeat itself, right?
So do you think like those times still affect like Zambia today?
Those times of the times of slavery
and colonization.
Like I can say the people never they never had any foresight, because neo-colonialism didn't just happen by accident. People were being told that the clever ones, right? You get the distinctions in your education. Somebody offers you a scholarship, and everybody is happy that you are going to study in Europe, in America, but not knowing that the one who's going to educate that person, the clever amongst you, is going to feed him all sorts of gunk that you come and regurgitate here and tell the people that no, the best way to where there is real life is if you just live in the UK or the US. Teach your children to aspire to live in the UK or the US, but not inward looking, you know, because me, I still believe only from within can we truly shine. But when you are taught, it's like in the Bible, they talk about the restoration of the blacksmith. The Israelis used to go and sharpen their weapons of war in another country, right? So whenever war broke out, if the tools are blunt, then they will have to panic because the blacksmith next is sleeping. So why not sharpen your own tools? That's why I even keep doing this. I keep showing you the other positive side of the people who are entrepreneurs. If you ask any Zambian, and I was, this morning I was told I had a debate with one friend of ours, and he was basically saying, what have you done as engineers in Zambia? You never even made anything. You never made any the ball mills we're going to see in Copperbelt are being done by Chinese. Because the Chinese valued their people to a point where even a peasant was given a skill. That if they bring a peasant to Zambia and you give him a piece of land, right, he will use the skill he has learned to even outshine a Zambian, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but our people sometimes don't value their own, right? To a point where you arm them with a skill. Not all of us have to be university graduates, right? But when you have like what I showed you around, the Turkish bricklaying machines are everywhere. The Turkish value their own people to a point where when they come to Zambia, they negotiate for pieces of land so that their people can come and start making bricks here. Whereas your own people, you are telling them that they have no capacity because you don't value your own. So this cycle, if it's not broken, where you respect your own people first, because if you don't, they will find another alternative of making money. They will become criminals, and they will rob the same person who was saying they have no capacity.
Yeah, hold on.
So,
let us know we still on, family. What's the information? I'm going to Zambia next year. It's very nice. Yeah, let us know if the stream is good, because it's like 3G over here.
Mine changed to 4G. We're on a different road.
Okay. Yeah, let us know if everything is cool. We got 107 people in here, 58 likes. Yeah, please hit the like. This is a deep, powerful moment in our history. We still here, all right. We still here, all right. Cool.
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah, if anything goes out, let us know immediately, family. If the stream cuts, whatever, because we're on the road and I can't really see what's going on the screen.
Yeah. So I have a question. So we're always hearing, people say, "Oh, all the slaves came from West Africa." But from what we're hearing, it's not all true. So, where were the slaves taken from here?
Yeah, I can show you a slave post at some point. We will stop over when. No, it's outside of Ngobola, but I think maybe tomorrow I can show you.
Okay.
There are some posts there, but when you go to West Africa, you'll find that there are people with English-sounding names, right? But those people were not from West Africa, and they speak Pidgin English. But if I listen to their Pidgin English, basically they are speaking my language in direct translation. Yeah. So because those people were the ones that were captured here and then taken to that side towards the end of slavery, right? They had already been given names and everything. So towards the end of slavery, they had no language nearby them which they can assimilate into. So the only language they spoke was that of a slave master, right? So now to communicate, they had to now make up a language. So in West Africa, there are Igbo people, for instance. There are Fulani people. There are Yoruba people. So if they were from around there, right, they couldn't have made up Pidgin English. They could have just easily gone back to their tribes and assimilated. But they're the ones that were captured from here. It was too far for them to go back, right? For them to go back, so the language they spoke was not found in that region. So they had to now make up their own language. Yeah. So it might not have been as massive as it was in West Africa, to a point where that part of the region became depopulated, right? It's not here where we got depopulated, no, because people were marching south, and that part of Africa became depopulated as a result of slave trade.
Interesting. Okay. So I know things change, and we have modern day. The way people do things are a lot different now. So what do you see as an issue on the continent? When it comes to how we deal with people who are not from the continent, if you will.
Oh, okay. You mean an issue with
Because back then we're talking trade and we're talking about bartering and all that stuff, but now things are different. And what we see is an influx of, so many people coming to the continent that are, not from here. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see that. I'm always against these hidden ideas of aid. Yeah, there was a Mr. Joseph Fernandez. Fernandez is a U.S. He's a undersecretary for African Affairs or something. He's here. I'm sure he's even here in Zambia. And one of the things he was saying was that, we are going to look at to see the Zambian local business people. But if you look at the people that were around him, we are not ours. Maybe he was with a few government officials and a few connected human beings, but the real Zambian business people, he went to see some lodges somewhere, somewhere. But then on paper they would say, okay, they were helping Zambia and this. And such type of aid is what outside countries like the US and the UK use to arm twist our government to drive a policy that favors their people and not our people, So they would say, but we gave you so much money in terms of US dollars to aid you in fighting healthcare, what. But if you look at it, the total money is 25 million. But then they twist our government to give tax breaks for mining companies up to a point of 180 million. So what makes more sense? You get your money, 180 million, and you fund your own healthcare, or you sign some fancy document with the U.S. government of giving you aid, right? Which you can easily generate from here. So this mentality is back in the time of slavery. It was the same thing. Yeah, you can get together, organize yourselves, and get this Arab trader who came just with a gun. You tell him that your people are not for sale. Yeah. Or your policies are not for sale. So the way they are dealing with outside, even the Chinese are very easy to manage. Very, very easy to manage. In China itself, they practice a form of apartheid. A rural Chinese cannot go into Shanghai and work. They keep him outside. But when they come here to negotiate, nobody's checking to say which Chinese are they bringing to our country to come and help develop, right? They are bringing the people that are from the rural areas to come here, right? Of course, we have some Chinese contractors, but the majority of the people that are sending here are those people that they would need to go, because the one child policy was there because they did not want any more Chinese, right? So they would rather get them to Zambia. But policy-wise, you have to look at what type of Chinese is coming into my country to live among my people. But if you don't respect your people, you can allow anybody, including fighters coming from Syria, thugs coming from North Africa, you can even throw them in your children's bedroom because you don't care so much about your people. So these are some of the things which I think has to change in the way we handle people that come here. I mean, I'm for immigration, but even in other countries, they check which immigrant. That's why there's a tier system in the UK. They point, what's your level of education? And they make us jump through all those hoops because they don't want anybody to just be walking into. You have to be. I went on a visa because the skills I had in the UK, there were very few people that could do that type of work. Yeah. But the minute even when they were bringing us in, they immediately started. You do your design. They tell you to type it word for word how you did your design, right? The idea was once you finish your design, they will give it to the next guy who's English to read through what you designed, so that eventually he will become just as good as you. So that when the next time you come to apply for your permit, they'll say, no, there is another person who can do the work you are just doing. So in the way we handle our immigration has to be a bit of not to disadvantage your own people. You splash bricklaying companies from Turkey all over your country at the expense of your own bricklayers. I mean, who does that? So.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Fair business is an important thing everywhere. There is a question that keeps coming up. Remember there was some kind of there's fake news floating around about American base being built here.
Oh yeah. All right. So there was they wanted to open an office here, an office of the Africa Command Center. Now they don't physically really have to. They clarify that it's not a base, it's not a military base that is going to be open, but it is a cooperation between the American government, American army, and our army. But if you know the history of the American army and the American government, I would never trust them with even my small dogs at my house. I would never do that, because if they really want to help us, and first of all, who is our enemy? We have never the enemy we fought First, let me tell you one thing. In Angola, 1975, right? 1975, Angola wanted to go for independence, and they went to Portugal to sign that peace agreement. There was Augustino Neto, Jonas Savimbi, and Roberto Holden. Yeah, one was UNITA, the other one was FNLA, and the other one was I've forgotten the other one. So they went there. They signed that agreement, and they were supposed to come back to Angola and have independence 1975 and celebrate that independence. The CIA, the arm of the American government, scorched that agreement, burnt it to the ground.
Hold on.
1 second.
I think it's the internet.
Let us know this.
Yeah, let us know if we back on, family. Let's focus on content. Leave these other questions alone. Let's
Okay, back.
we back. All right, let us know we back, family.
I
I think we back. You sure we back? That's back.
Yeah,
Those is behind.
These are behind.
Yeah, what you say? Look, we
You
good?
on.
Yeah.
Okay, it says you
All
on.
right, we on. All right, family, we back at it.
Okay.
It's like it keep changing from 3G to 4G as we riding
Yeah,
along.
right.
So
Yeah.
if it's a little janky, that's what it is, family. Yeah, that's what it is. But we about to go through a toll booth, it looks like. But I just want to say shout out to all the beautiful people in the building. Shout out to Mwewa, Shamande. Shout out to you, family. Shout out to Crunk Kings. And Out of My Way, we are one. Shout out to you too, family. Yeah, everything is good.
I say, are you a
Once we get
professor?
through this toll booth, then we're gonna get started back on what we're doing. But yeah, shout out to everybody who's on right now. 132 people on. We have 85 likes. That's really not a lot of likes at all, family. Hit the like button, please, if you can. If your finger is working, if your arm is not out of socket and everything is good with your body movement and things like that, just touch the like button for us. That really helps us out, family. Thank you so much. Peace and love to Joseph and Nefertum or yours. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Yes, love you all. Shout out to the Caribbean, you know, Jamaica, Bahamas and all that. Also, shout out to U.S., our brothers in the U.S., Freedmen, everybody who's out there in the building from the U.S. Peace and love to you, all the brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Yeah. All right, so we're going to get back to it, family. And right now, currently, we're on our way to the Copperbelt, right?
Yes, we are going to go through Kapiri.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what we headed to. And, yeah.
Yeah, shout out to you guys. So somebody wanted to know if you are a teacher or professor or
Oh, no,
so
because,
knowledgeable. You just study a lot.
no, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a prof. Because part of the job that I do is for water supply projects, and then I supervise the construction. And normally I get people to come and ask me things like, oh, so how did you design this thing? So I have to really go into detail. But as a hobby, I took a hobby because having lived in the UK, you find a lot of people telling lies about Africa. So because I used to pay attention to my grandmother telling me stories, and then I try to relate them to what is written down. For instance, somebody told me a lie someday that the dogs, that one of the most expensive dog is called a Rhodesian Ridgeback, and he said, oh, these dogs were brought by white people. So I said, wait a minute. In our language, we call a dog any dog. Okay, the only dog that we used to be here was a Rhodesian Ridgeback, basically. And the local name for the Rhodesian Ridgeback is Imbwa. So if you look at showing us how they call their Rhodesian Ridgeback, they call it Imbwa. The Rwandese, how they call when they're talking about the Rhodesian Ridgeback, their dog which the Bantu people kept was a rhodesian, because these small little dogs cannot survive in the jungle at the time. You needed to have those Rhodesian Ridgebacks to surround your village, so that even if a lion came, they will fend it off. So now somebody was saying, no, it was brought by white people. I said, but if it was brought by them, why they name it a Rhodesian Ridgeback? Because it was found in the Rhodesia, which is Zambia and Zimbabwe. So when they found it, just like they found the Victoria Falls, instead of respecting the name that they found, so they just called it Rhodesian Ridgeback. So somebody can, and in Bemba, if you have a name like Mwanza, right? These are my stories that used to come from my grandmother. If a person has got a name like Mwanza, is basically the hair of a Rhodesian Ridgeback when they stand up. So how can you have a local name of a dog that never used to be here, right? They would say Bemba Imbwa ya Furwa no Mwanza wa Ima. So because when the Rhodesian Ridgeback is angry, its hair stands up like the ridge itself stands like this, right? So if somebody can describe that in a Bemba saying, then it means it's a dog that used to be around them, because they are thinking that whenever a dog is angry, its hair stands up. So then there must have been just one type of dog. Its ridge stands up when it's angry. So basically that is translated to say the dog is angry and its ridge has stood up. So how can it not be native to here if there is even a saying for it? Yeah. So so coming back to what I was trying to say to you about the American government. In 1975, they botched the independence of Angola. It had to take Cuba's Fidel Castro to bring in his troops from all the way from Cuba for Angola to get its independence. They never stopped there. The CIA released $300,000, which they gave to Savimbi and Robert Hoden. Robert Hoden even used to hire mercenaries, white mercenaries, to cause carnage in that war, right? We cleaned it up. Then they can come today and say, oh, we are coming to make cooperation. They manufactured one enemy who we helped clean up. And in case people don't know, Idi Amin, people said, Idi Amin, what? Idi Amin was a work of the British. In 1979, when our president went to a conference in East Africa, in Asia, they met up with a Prime Minister of the UK who was called Edward Heath. Margaret Thatcher was his education secretary. She had not yet become Prime Minister. And they pressured Edward Heath. It was Julius Nyerere, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, our president, and Milton Obote, who was president of Uganda. So they pressured, why are you supporting Ian Smith in the South? You are causing carnage. They were being bombed every time. Stop supporting Ian Smith in Zimbabwe. And then Edward Heath, out of anger, he responded. This was in the KK diaries, one of the Kaunda diaries that unfortunately was destroyed when they closed down the Post newspaper. Edward Heath, out of anger, he said, why are you talking too much? After all, some of you are not even going home. And the following day, Idi Amin had taken over Uganda. You can put two and two together. So the American people, for the Americans, murder of our people, wars outside of America is basically a business. They sell guns to both sides so that they kill each other. So this, yes, our president clarified on that point. It's not a military base, but even that embassy, the embassy of the US as a CIA operator, the ones who killed that person in that prime minister of Haiti, the president of Haiti, escaped through the American embassy. So for me, I am not making this up. You can go and look it up. I would never trust the Americans with anything in the American government, sorry, yeah, and the government machinery. Probably those black representatives in the US
Oh, dang.
should stop. And there is another one, which they are calling it malign and counter Russian influence in Africa. There's a law that has just been passed in the US. Now, in Angola, the war was being fought over.
Hold on, family. You gotta check.
Yes.
Yeah, but shout out to all the lovely family. We're gonna have some jewels getting dropped real soon, family. We got the we at a little checkpoint right now.
Someone sent a question for us.
All right, somebody has a question for us. Kevin, with 10 questions to you, family. Why so many Africans and Black Americans not visit Africa? We had so many Europeans visiting Africa.
Thank you very much.
We're not our own brothers and sisters. I don't think we really, a lot of people in the U.S. don't really feel like we're welcome, you know, to Africa like that. Because no country ever was like, you know, well, I mean, other than Ghana that year return, you know, but like, most of the time, us in America, we're just thinking about trying to survive that day or trying to survive that week, which we're working. You know, a lot of people have more than one job, and nobody's really thinking about Africa is not on the average Black American's radar at all. You know, we're not sitting down thinking about Africa because all the images we also see is negative about Africa. If it's on the news, if it's on movies, you know, it's always negative. So we don't see too much positive when you're in America. And that's why me and my wife and my family, that's why we do what we do, to show the whole other side of Africa, to show that there is more to Africa than what we are being taught. And it is getting on a lot of other people's radar now. Yeah, we are building those bridges, family. Watching you, learning from Richland County, SC. Shout out to you, family. Ask the brother what are his thoughts on Chinese Zambian relation. All right, I think we talked about that already, but yeah, what are your thoughts on Zambian Chinese relation?
The relationship between China and Zambia has to be managed a little better.
Okay.
Because, like I said, if you're just going to allow anybody, if you're just going to allow any Chinese unregulated to come and live amongst us, and then they behave badly, there will be friction between communities. So, for me, I would trust more the Chinese government than the American government in terms of dealing between countries. But the government of Zambia has to look out for their own people. Like that's because in Bemba we say Chalo Bantu. A country is its people first. So you look out for your people first, and then you look out for everybody else.
Yeah.
So when you're negotiating, if it's a project that is supposed to be done by it's a money you've borrowed from the Chinese government. Why would you now allow a Chinese government-owned company to come and do the same contract? So they leave you with a bill, and first of all you owe them money, and then none of your contractors benefit from constructing the same road you're borrowing for. So infrastructure projects in America, FDR that made the national highways to connect the cities. That is where Barlow World grew from. That is where all these manufacturers of construction equipment grew from. So infrastructure projects are a chance for you to grow your own middle class, your own economy, right? But failure by our people, especially these in the financial institutions, they fail to understand that when you borrow for infrastructure, you are basically trying to not only build your infrastructure but also grow your own middle class through those that will be supplying the bricks, those that will be supplying the materials that have been used in construction of that infrastructure. But the relationship between China and Zambia has to be managed a bit better, not the way it is being managed. Make sure your people benefit from what you are getting. The Chinese come with the Bank of China. here, and they will borrow at a very low interest rate. So if he's got a contract, you borrow money maybe at 9%. But if the Zambian has got a contract, you borrow at 20, 30%. So who do you think will perform better when you give these two contracts? And sometimes they will even tell them not to pay back until they are paid by the government. So when I do a contract with the government, I will be lagging behind because the 90% of the financial institutions are owned by foreign companies. And this is not right. They has to reverse that. Encourage more people to have banks which can lend to their own people. Because banks at the end of the day are Shylocks. They need to make money by lending to others. But if you don't have enough base to lend to, then how do you make money? So that is why foreign banks are coming with their own foreign companies so they can lend to them. So they negotiate with the government and then they bring their own people they can lend to so that they can make a profit of. Not our people.
Are there any African countries who when they like do business in Zambia, do they bring their banks as well?
Yeah. So like Nigerians have brought their banks here because they know, they understand. For them to support their small businesses, those banks have to be there. It's just like the way the South Africans have done. They brought in their banks here, right? But if you go to borrow money from that bank, the terms will be very different from a white South African who will go and borrow money from the same bank. But understandably, that is their bank. So that is even the more reason why we should also have our own bank, privately owned, whereby if somebody defaults, they can aggressively follow him. Not the one that is owned by or manipulated by the government. I'm talking about something that is run on like a private business, even if it's owned by the government. I mean, you can learn from the way the Chinese have done. I mean, the steps are there. They come with their bank, with their own small business owners, and then they flourish, right? But in this country, they have to manage the relationship.
Yeah.
Getting some comments here, so I'll read a few of them. African continent shouldn't borrow money from China and leave these countries out for resources. What the Zambian brother showed you, can you get more details in Angola? So you should visit Angola, the country. Yeah, we intend on visiting Angola. Not sure when, but yeah, I think for the most part, like to add on to what my husband said earlier, like we in the West, we don't really get, okay, just think about advertisements for different places. You always get like these different tropical places and, you know, Mexico, so you never see advertisements for the continent. I haven't, you know, even when we were living there. So that's one thing. If you look at media, you don't see advertisements for the continent, even though there are many places that are very progressive. They're building everywhere, you know, and we've been riding on a paved road just like we have in the U.S. for a couple of hours now. You know, people are still thinking that people live in just huts and roaming with, you know, animals, and it's like they don't understand the continent is developed, and because of a lack of being, you know, us not seeing that via media, then we're thinking we're stuck in, I don't know what year that would be, you know what I'm saying? We're stuck in the late 1800s, early 1900s, not knowing that time moves on and places evolve, things change, and there's constant change on the continent. It's beautiful change, and like he's saying, there are things that need to be worked on. Of course, we still got a long way to go, but and that's why we do what we do. My husband said it earlier. We wanted to show people in real time what things are really like and what is really going on, because leaving it up to Western media, you will never see any of this. And that's why, and it's like, but you have people from other countries that are very, I don't know, adventurous. They'll just move, they'll just go, or they'll send somebody ahead, do the surveying to see what's going on. The next thing you know, it's a slew of people coming from other places because they see opportunities, they see what can be done. And you know, it's up to us to make those moves and just stop talking and start moving and start doing things if we really, 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 really want change. Because talking is not going to make change. We got to put action with our words, and that's just what it is. And I think that we're blessed to have this channel and to do what we do, because we get to show our people what it really is and what's really going on in real time, not in 10 years ago. Real time, what's going on, what's possible. There's so many possibilities on this continent, but we just got to get our butts over here. That's period, point blank. But there's some people we know that unfortunately cannot and probably will never make it out of, you know, where they are in their situations. We have people in different situations. We totally understand that. Then there are people who want to go and do. You gotta just go and do. Make your plans and make your moves. Do what
Yeah,
you got
but
to
I
do.
mean, just
Yeah.
moving to the continent ain't the only
Yeah.
focus here.
Visit. Yeah.
Like, you know, visiting is where
Yeah,
it's at,
visit.
family. You know, a lot of people in America feel, you know, America, that's their country, you know, and they don't feel like they should have to go somewhere else. And that's cool to think like that. You know, fight for your country and all of that. And, you know, I'm down for all of that. You know, but for people who want to be investors and people who know how to make money different kind of ways, you know, the continent is like a gold mine for certain investors and for certain people, you know. And if you have a heart for the people, it's even better. You know what I mean? But
Can even see this.
okay, yeah, we understand that everybody don't want to like go to Africa or move to Africa and things like that, because it's not everything that was programmed into the majority of Americans is always bad about Africa. So, you know, we understand how people ain't really feeling that. I was born in America and I'm ready to go. Yeah, I mean, shout out to you, family. You know what I'm saying? I know it's about to go down in the States. There's white supremacists out there running amok, killing people in supermarkets and doing little crazy things like that. And you know, it comes a time where that kind of stuff it just gotta stop, because people getting tired and it's getting to a point where, you know, enough is enough, family. You know what I mean? Yes, please go with heart and not just investors. Yeah, because it's important to have a heart for what you're doing.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of our people who do come to Africa, because it is some of us here, you know, we come, some, not all, because all of us are not the same, family. But, you know, a lot of us that do come here, we come, you know, with a camaraderie with the people and an understanding and with love and with wanting to do things from the heart. You know, and there's no big company paying us money to do what we do. There's no company, you know, taking care of us while we out here. It's like a lot of us out here just doing it on our own and doing it on ourselves because, you know, we want change. We have a love for, you know, people and what we doing, family. Yeah, I said people and what we doing. All right, so what area is this in Ngobola?
Oh, we have just left Kabwe. We are now going to Kapiri.
Okay.
Kapiri. And then after Kapiri, then it's in Ndola.
Okay.
So
Now I heard something. I think you said it before. It was the man, the richest man on earth, Mansa Musa.
Mansa
right?
Musa, yes.
Okay. Now.
There's always a problem with rich people.
Yeah. Now Mansa Musa. Now, like, how did he get so much money?
Yeah, he was trading in gold.
Okay.
And then he had, because he had a lot of slaves as well. So
Okay.
the thing about at that time, having labor is a source of wealth, and people that can work for you and you can pay them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Mansa Musa was dealing in gold, and but the only problem I have with Mansa Musa was that he was a slave trader, right? And when he went to, he had more loyalty with the Arabs than he had with us here, and he gave them our slaves. I mean, the largest slaves ever given at one time was Mansa Musa's a trip to Mecca.
Damn.
Which was, for me, a total. I mean, maybe he did not know what they would do to the slaves after he gave them, because he thought he was giving them a part of his workers to help them develop their area. But the way they were treating slaves in the Arab world. It's just I wouldn't support the movie he did of giving them our human beings that way.
Man.
And even the gold he donated, he could have kept it with our people. And we probably wouldn't have been in a situation of being at the mercy of those Arab slave traders.
Man, do you think that whole little that situation that he did up there going towards Mecca, you think that put a target on the back of Africa?
Yeah. So basically, it's like you're telling them, okay, we are very rich, but we don't care so much about our people, and here are some of them. And then they just decided to come back, and then because it now became a big. We can also get a few of our slaves and maybe ask them to work for us there. So me, that's just what I think. I know if you know. So it's
Okay, I think we back. Little family. Yeah, let us know we back. The video stopped